second quarter as the Flyers, from the get-go, have taken control here, Nick. And Sam Vincent bringing a confident ball club into this weekend set with the Flame, and that confidence just continues here this afternoon.
Yeah, and why not? They've owned the Flame over the course of the season, and right now they're playing just as well as any team in the league. Really, Florida, this is where they got into trouble yesterday. They look at that scoreboard, they look at the huge deficit, and then they start to play a little sloppy, a little frustrated. Right now, Florida, we talked about this before, needs to break down their disadvantage into segments. You know, go on a 6-0 run here, go on an 8-0 run there. And when we start seeing that, they'll play a little more focused, and they'll get a few more defensive stops. And that's the key right now for Florida to get back into this game.
Lenny Stokes out of the timeout with the second free throw going down. 1 of 2 on the trip. It's a 15-point game at 50-35. EB with the wraparound. Schencher goes to the jump hook. It's rejected by Leach out of bounds. George Leach getting that big left-hand paw up there to swat that one away. Now a couple of changes for the Flyers. Schencher will step out. Ockendell back in. Azubuike off the floor. And Anthony Terrell will come back on for Fort Worth. Shot clock at 10. As Langford calling for a screen from Ockendell, goes away from it, on the drive past Nichols, windmills up a right-hand reverse layup and scores off the window. Pretty move by Langford. He has a total of 11 points here today.
And really, when you look at what Langford does, he drew everybody to the weak side of the basket, took it over to the strong side, and he was untouched as 3 defenders were in his dust.
Sorrentine, long distance jumper, no good. Fort Worth has dominated this second quarter. Here's ZB. As his wild runner over the top of Smith is up and good. He went off the wrong foot, it looked like, but it still went home.
And that's tough. When Florida's bringing a double team and they still can't stop the offense, they really need to focus on what they can do, maybe switch up, give Fort Worth a different look, something that'll throw Fort Worth out of their game.
A 19-point Flyers lead. Leach on the isolation. Sorrentine, the catch and fire tray, around and out, no good. Barely came out of the cylinder, and Langford there for the rebound. And that has been the story of the second quarter for the Flame. That shooting percentage dipping now down to 34% for the field at 12 of 35. So Langford on a switch against the slower Leach. They can't utilize it. EB now will step back on Smith. Had the hot hand, but not there. And Leach again with the defensive board. Stokes on the run all the way to the goal. Right hand jam attempt won't go down. It pops out of the cylinder, and Ockendell came up with it. Now here's Miles. Miles runs into trouble. Now will back it outside towards the wing. Sorrentine, good pressure on him there. Got a brief screen from Ockendell. The pick and pop. Now the feed to Eby, leaning in over the top of Nichols. Just used his superior size to force it off the glass and in. 56-35, a 21-point game with 54.5 seconds on the game clock. And apparently it will be reset to 55.2. We had some clock problems.
And when you go back to that last offensive play where Lenny Stokes came down in transition, you know, that's really disheartening for the Flame when you know that you have your 2 leading scorers on the team out, and somebody who carried your team Thursday night, for what it's worth, isn't able to make a dunk attempt on a transition basket. That's really got to be something that Florida's got to look to fix.
Smith finding Sorrentine. Another open look from the top. It's no good on the follow. There's Leach.
Excellent positioning right there by George Leach. And again, going back to that toughness that he's showing tonight. Fort Worth, one of those rare times when everybody on Fort Worth stood flat-footed and just watched the ball bounce. But Sorrentine's been throwing up a lot of three-pointers, and you got to think that he's bound to make one of them eventually.
5.6 rebounds in the first half for George Leach. Langford driving, hanging, firing, no good. Rebound Smith. Flame down by 19 points as Smith in transition finds Stokes. Shot clock turned off with 5, whips it out to Smith, a long 2, good with 2.3. 56-39, stolen at half court. Sorrentine fires it up at the horn for a 3, no good. So the Flame, trailing by as many as 21 points in the second quarter, score the final 4 points of this first half, and they go to the halftime locker room, an undermanned ball club down by 17. Your halftime score, Fort Worth 56, Florida 39. Stay tuned. The Metro PCS halftime report coming up next. We'll be joined by the Flames leading scorer, Bracy Wright, when we continue here on UPN 8.
The #1 Century 21 in the world. For over 20 years, Barbara Watt and her Century 21 Sunbelt Realty team have been providing unparalleled real estate service with 21 offices throughout Southwest Florida. We're #1 for a reason. Let us show you why. When you think Century 21, think Sunbelt.
Boxed in by a bad wireless phone plan, trapped in a contract without enough minutes. Let Metro PCS set you free with unlimited local and long distance for just $40 a month and no contract. Metro PCS.
Hello, hello, hello.
Permission to speak freely.
Go! Flame on 3. 1, 2, 3, bang!
The road to the NBA runs through Southwest Florida.
See the future of the Heat when you catch the flame.
Our game, our flame. Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
It's our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame! Yeah!
Catch the flame. It's hot.
Lee Convenient Care Walk-In Medical Centers offer quick, friendly, and quality health care with no appointment. For hours and locations, visit leememorial.org.
You know who your friends are.
How did you and your doggy get out of your house?
They give it to you straight.
What you're supposed to do is give your drinking up and stay home with baby.
They're always dependable.
What would you do if I offered you some help?
When you're in need,
Who you can call?
Cops.
Weeknights at 10 on UPN 8.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Metro PCS halftime report from Germain Arena. Tim Beckwar now joined alongside by the starting shooting guard of the Florida Flame and their leading scorer, averaging 21.8 points per game, Bracy Wright. And first of all, Bracy, held out of Thursday's game. You're out of today's game as well with a foot injury. What can you tell us about the injury and how much time will you be out of the lineup?
Well, I really don't know how much time I'll be out, but, you know, they told me last night that it was a stress fracture, and you know, the best thing for me to do is to rest it. So, you know, they said sometimes these things can take, 3 to 5 days or something up to 2 weeks. So, hopefully I'll be back in a few days. Our next game is until, like the first week of March. So, I'll have some time to stay off of it and get back healthy.
A second-round pick of the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 2005 NBA draft. You were assigned to the Flame back in November. And how would you describe your overall experience here in the NBA Development League?
It's been, interesting. I've had a lot of good chances to showcase everything I can do. The team has been playing really well. It's just been a blessing for me to come down here and continue to play so well. My numbers are great. I'm feeling great. My health has been, really good to me, except for the, the recent foot injury. But, everything has been on a positive note for me, and I'm happy.
Which part of your game do you feel like you've really been able to improve during your time here in Southwest Florida?
I think just maturing as a player. Playing 30, 40 minutes a game really gives you a chance to go through ups and downs and make mistakes and learn from them. And the more you play, the more you become comfortable with the game. And I think just by playing those amount of minutes, just maturing as a player after on the court, understanding how to play, going from, playing the 1 and also the 2, it just, it helps everything that I do out.
You've been able to put up 4 30-plus point games so far this season. What does that feel like when you're in such a rhythm like that, such as the game up in Roanoke last weekend where you had 33 points to tie your season high?
When you're in a rhythm like that, it seems, about just about everything you do works for you. I got a couple of steals and a couple of fast break points. I got to the free throw line, and converted a lot of those, just a lot of jump shots and layups. So, I was doing it in a variety of ways, and,
you know, every time you score and you continue to, you know, string points together, the basket gets that much bigger, and your confidence grows, and, you know, you become more of a threat, you know, to the opposing team.
Yeah. Playing for a coach like Jeff Malone, who was a fellow two-guard, he spent 13 years in the NBA, and what kind of lessons has he been able to teach you?
Just how to be a professional. You know, he really stresses that to each and every one of, you know, the players on his team is, you know, being a professional, and no matter what the game throws at you, always respect the game, and it'll respect you back. And, you know, just about how to approach a game and how to prepare for a game. And, you know, he teaches everybody that, but especially me, since, you know, my situation with being with Minnesota and having a chance to play in the NBA, you know, he really stresses that to me, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, being a Minnesota Timberwolf, what's it like to be around Kevin Garnett? I know he takes care of the younger players on the roster every year.
He's the best in the NBA, hands down, you know, on and off the court. You know, he always is pulling me aside and telling me things, and making sure that I understand what's going on, and making sure I understand that when I become in a position to where he is in, you know, a veteran and a player who is, you know, has a big contract and who's playing a lot and who's become established in the league, that I also take care of younger players who look up to me like he's doing to me right now.
George Leach, your former college teammate, a teammate now with you here in the pro ranks, and what's that been like?
You know, it's been pretty fun to come down to a foreign situation as I came down to, and to have somebody that, you know, I spent 3 years with in college. And, you know, it's fun for me to have him down here because, you know, I know how he plays, and I think when we were in college, I was somebody that, you know, he enjoyed playing with, and I really helped him, and he also helped me. So it's just, you know, we just pick up where we left off in college.
Yeah, being a former Indiana Hoosier, obviously tough times going on right now in Bloomington with the coaching change, but have you been in contact with your former teammates to try and give them some encouragement?
I've spoken to a couple of them, you know, not since the situation happened with Coach Davis, but before that, you know, but ever since this situation happened, I haven't been in contact with anybody else there, but, you know, I know they're handling it well. They actually won today versus Michigan State, so it looks like, you know, they're coming together and continuing to put things in the right direction.
Yeah. Final question for you, but when you look at your ball club right now, this Florida Flame team, what do you look at as the major areas that need to improve for this ball club over the final month and a half of the season to make a strong run towards the playoffs?
We have to become a better rebounding team. You know, we lost Dwayne Jones, and he was, you know, probably the best rebounder in the league. And for us to lose him, we took a big hit with that. So we have to become a better rebounding team first and foremost. And I think secondly, we have to learn to close out games. And we've had a lot of games where we've had leads going into the fourth quarter, in the middle of the fourth quarter, and, you know, we start to sputter on offense or, you know, collapse on defense, and the other team will make a run, and they'll, you know, beat us by 2 or 3. And, you know, we've had, you know, 3 or 4 games like that. You know, we sitting here in, you know, 20-13. You know, we could possibly, you know, 22-9 or something like that. So with a comfortable lead in first place. So I think if we take care of those 2 things, that, you know, the final month of the season we'll be sitting in pretty good shape.
Okay, Bracey, thanks so much for joining us here today. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you back out on the court very soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Bracey Wright of the Florida Flame, our guest on the Metro PCS Halftime Report. When we return, halftime stats. You're watching Florida Flame basketball on UPN 8 and the D-League Basketball Network.
Barbara Watt's Century 21 Sunbelt Realty has 21 offices throughout Southwest Florida and over 800 real estate professionals to give you unparalleled service. We're the #1 Century 21 in the world for a reason. Let us show you why. When you think Century 21, think Sunbelt.
So I'm going to get 5,000 anytime minutes.
Yeah, you get 5,000 anytime minutes.
Why did you just do that?
Why did I do what?
That thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I would actually just feel better if you could say it again without that thing.
Yeah, you get 5,000 anytime minutes.
Okay, you just did it again.
What?
Switch to Metro PCS, where anytime really means anytime. For $40 a month, talk all you want, anytime. Metro PCS.
Hello, hello, hello.
Permission to speak freely.
Go! Flame on 3. 1, 2, 3, play!
The road to the NBA runs through Southwest Florida.
See the future of the Heat when you catch the flame.
Our game, our flame. Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
It's our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame.
Our game, our flame! Yeah!
Catch the flame. It's hot.
The need for blood doesn't take a holiday. Lee Memorial Blood Centers urge you to give the gift of life. Be a blood donor at any of our hospitals.
Why settle for the same old entertainment show tonight when Nancy and Billy give you access every night? Access to the biggest stars.
Best day I've had at work yet.
And the best gossip.
Who's a better kisser, Colin Farrell or Madonna?
No one does Hollywood like Nancy and Billy.
Weeknights at 7:30 on UPN 8.
Your 2005-2006 Florida Flame, presented by the Far Team SunTrust Mortgage. Bracy Wright, a 6'3" rookie shooting guard on assignment for the NBA's Minnesota Timberwolves. An early entry candidate for the 2005 NBA draft out of Indiana University, Wright was selected by Minnesota in the second round of the 2005 draft with a 47th overall pick. Wright currently ranks third in the NBA Development League in scoring at 21.8 points per game. Andre Barrett, the 5'11" point guard out of Seton Hall, spent the 2004-05 season in the NBA, appearing in 38 games with the Houston Rockets and Orlando Magic. The number 1 overall pick in the 2005 D-League draft, Barrett ranks third in the D-League in assists, averaging 6.6 per game. The New York City native is also the Flames' second leading scorer and ranks 9th overall in the D-League at 17 points per contest. Theron Smith, originally from Auburndale, Florida, Smith is 16th in the D-League in scoring at 14.7 points per game. The 6'8" forward from Ball State University spent the past 2 seasons in the NBA, appearing in a total of 53 games for the Memphis Grizzlies and Charlotte Bobcats. Jawan Irwin, acquired by the Flame on January 25th, Irwin is averaging 10.1 points and 10 rebounds per game with Florida. Originally from Huntsville, Alabama, the 6'9" forward center played for John Calipari at the University of Memphis. The rookie has posted double-doubles in the Flames' last 2 contests. Austin Nichols, averaging 12.3 points per game since being inserted into the starting lineup. Nichols also leads Florida and ranks 7th in the NBA D-League in free throw percentage at 83% from the foul line. The Oakland, California native played collegiately at Division II Humboldt State, where he was a first-team All-American as a senior in 2004, averaging 21.4 points per game. George Leach, the 6'11" center from Indiana University, ranks 6th in the D-League in block shots average with 1.2 swats per game.